ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Technical Alpha podcast. It is Thursday, April the 18th, 2018. And it is a Wednesday. Getting the club turned up on a Wednesday. And the reasoning behind that, for those who are watching this live, and for those who are probably confused with the fact that this might have shown up in your RSS feeds 24 hours ahead of schedule, is because tomorrow my better half returns to the city after being gone back home for 6 weeks, and her flight gets in literally like dead smack in the middle of what would have been our podcast. So we are doing it today.
We don't just cancel podcasts around here. We reschedule.
No. I wasn't about to miss my first ever podcast. Unacceptable. And so we're going to do it today, and kind of wing it, because I've got a couple of topics that I wrote down, and some things that happened through the week that I had in the back of my mind. But let me just switch this over here. But I was out all day, and I only got back about hour and 45 minutes ago. I was at, well, I had to help my dad pick up my grandmother's car that was at my aunt and uncle's, one of my aunt and uncle's place, my dad's sister. The grandmother that went into a home here in the, last week, she got into a home.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so that
happened.
We thankfully, well, we knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know how soon we'd be able to find a place that had room, and then how that would all go down. So thank God we found one, and coincidentally we found one that wasn't in Yarmouth, so we don't have to drive 4 hours.
4 hours
to go and see her. So that was a huge benefit. And it's a place that a friend of my mom's mom, so the one that lives with my parents now. A friend of her lifelong friend, or one of them, went to that home, and they didn't have much bad to say about it, so they were pretty happy about that. And so I went to go visit her after we had gotten her car, and I got to see her for the first time in quite some time, and see her in her new digs. And it's not bad. I mean, pretty much every old folks home in this province, short of the one that just got built here a year and a half or 2 years ago, is pretty much some post-apocalyptic wasteland shit. Yeah.
I think 99% of homes around North America are that.
Unless you are in some high,
unless you got money,
high
you got a lot
quality,
of money.
Lots of money. So on the upside, being where it is, there's a lot of volunteers that are there, and it sounds weird to be positive about that, but you have to understand, and Jeff would hear lots about this anyway, because his wife works in one of these places, is that when you're doing it as a volunteer basis, it means you actually really like what you're doing. And so when you have volunteers working there, you tend to get oftentimes better work than the people who are getting paid to do the work.
Well, because if you're volunteering, you want to be there.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the difference, right?
Chances are, if you're actually working, you don't want to be there.
You might want to be there.
You might want to.
There are workers that are totally down for it, and they're happy to get paid, but there are lots of people who are phoning that shit in on the daily. And if there's one place you don't want people phoning it in, it's the folks taking care of your grandparents or your parents in their old age. So so I was happy with that. She's happy with the food, which was one of those things you're always concerned about, is how shit is the food. But she was pleased with it, and you can actually go there, and you just pay $7, and you can sit down in the dining room with them, and you can have dinner and stuff there, which is really nice. So I'll be able to go and visit her, and have dinner or whatever with her if we wanted to do that. And so yeah, I was out.
You'll be the handsome grandson that comes in, and you can tell everybody stories and shit.
Oh, of course. Absolutely, or I'll be the talk of the blue-haired ladies. This is when I leave.
Yeah.
But her roommate's really nice. That was awesome to see as well, because you're always concerned in a two-person room if one of them's an asshole. Yep. So thankfully she's not. She's quite a sweet lady. She's almost a TV version of a stereotypical old woman. She's got the half beehive hair. You know what I mean? The 60s. beehive.
She's real white.
And she's got the horn-rimmed glasses and shit.
And she don't like black people.
She never left the 60s. She's still in the 60s right now. I'm pretty certain. She might have hit some serious drugs in her day, and she's still living in 1963. She never left. So that was kind of at least mildly positive to see that things were going pretty well there. But yeah, I was gone all day with that and drove back, and now here we are. We're pumping out this beauty of a podcast. We're gonna get it going. But how are you doing, sir? Have you gotten the Jeep out for another rip today?
I did.
In the wet weather.
I actually haven't driven my car since I got the Jeep.
Uh-oh. It's your side bitch now.
Yeah.
Your $30,000 Jeep is now the forerunner to your $6 billion.
I didn't know. I didn't even spend 30 on it.
I'm brand new. I'm saying I have no idea what you paid for it secondhand, but
I went and got a massage today, and after the massage, I decided to go and do this steam shower. So I go into the steam shower. I'm like,
were you alone for the steam shower?
I was.
I just wanted to make sure. All right, okay.
So they offered, I'm like, okay, sure, I'll go in the steam shower. So she comes in, she shows me how it works. I'm like, okay.
How Asian was this place, Jeff?
No, it was spirit spa, so it's like a regular.
So this wasn't a happy ending hotel. All right, okay, all right. Just wanted to make sure. All right.
So anyway, she shows me how the stuff works. I'm like, okay. So I get in there, and there's a big, shower head in the center.
Yeah.
It's like raining down water, and there's a knob for that to turn it up and turn it down, and then there's another button that you can turn up and turn down the steam in it, which basically it's almost like a sauna, but there's like a shower in there.
That's the how much do you want to pretend you're suffocating level is basically what. Okay, all right.
Essentially. So she shows me that this is how you turn it up, this is how you turn it down. So I'm like, all right, cool. She bounces, I get in. As soon as I get in, when you open the door, the cold air starts coming in, which drops the temperature inside the actual shower or whatever. And we had it set to, I think, 33 or 34 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
All right. So it was steamy in there. It wasn't like, suffocating, but it was hot.
You'll get a sweat on. You'll get a sweat on. Yeah.
So when I opened up the shower door and I get in, the steam, there's like this almost like a little, not a hole in the wall, but we'll call it for the sake of it, there's a hole in the wall.
There's a glory hole. Okay.
There's a glory hole, right? And steam comes shooting out of this thing to bring it up to temperature. So when I opened the door and I closed it when I got in, the temperature of it dropped by like 2 or 3 degrees, and so the steam came out.
Okay.
And I didn't see this thing down there, and this was like as soon as you walk in, like it's like a foot away from there, and I'm just standing there like holding the water, like feeling the water because it was hot, and I'm like trying to get that perfect temperature so I can get underneath it. And when I opened the door and closed it, the steam went and hit the back of my leg, my left leg, and I was like, fuck, right? And I move over, and I open the door like an idiot, like trying to get some cold air, and it goes on full, and I'm like, I'm getting fucked, bro. I'm getting fucked. And so I'm like, yeah, this sucks. I end up leaving, and now the back of my leg is burnt, and it's fucking salty. Back of my leg is fucking salty right now.
I feel like they should have warned you about that.
Dude, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you my leg right now.
Okay, all right.
Look at it. Look, I don't know if you can see this, but look at how dry my leg is. You see the white flakes?
Yeah.
And it's all underneath my leg. I know it's not a sexy view there, guys, but like that, it's all fucking just dry and crusty from where it got burned.
That's like ashy knees to a whole new level, bro.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's brutal.
Yep.
And they didn't tell you about that. At no point were they like, by the way, don't stick your dick in this hole because you might lose it.
No point. No point did they tell me about that. So, that was...
If this was America, you would have already won $1 million lawsuit.
Would have sued, and it would have been great, but no, not quite. So.
Well,
yeah, I know. Listen, the guy said you got a lotion. Dude, I'm telling you, it's not ashiness. It's my skin is dry. Like, it got fucking shreked, and now it's just crusty.
Dummy. Just, Gab's saying, aloe vera, the sweet and sour baby Jesus out of that thing.
I know. I gotta put some shit on it.
Bathe in it.
So anyway, that was my day. And great. I actually worked out today too, so that was
wow.
And I went to the grocery store. I bought all kinds of like healthy food to get me through like the first 4 days of relapse or of not relapse of no. I'm
so
not
you bought
relapsing.
a box of donuts.
I bought, just to get ready of what's the word I'm looking for here of
I know what you mean
of the grind. Yeah, the first 4 days of the grind before the relapse.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then you're going to write an album, and it's not going to be as good as your other albums, and people are going to say that you fell off, and then you're going to bring back that whack-ass accent, and people are going to still complain about the accent, and then you're going to like start complaining about the fact that you're 40 years old and you can't beat your best rap lines anymore. That's the circle of life. It's the circle of life. No, I did the meal prep thing there like early last week, and enjoyed that for a time, but yeah, I'm trying to find like it's hard because if you do meal prep, there's this line between saving time because you only do like the same meal prep every single time, and it's not you're not varying your meals at all. It's all the same shit, and then getting bored as fuck out of the food that you're eating and risking relapsing into those box donuts.
Burger.
Exactly. So that's like the line you have to follow is at which point do I vary my food more so that I don't feel like I need to stuff my face with all of this nonsense to make up for it. And I'm usually pretty good. I can do 3 or 4 if I really like what I'm eating. I can do 4 days of it and it's not really a problem.
Yep.
If I only kind of like it, it's like 3 days. If I'm doing it just because it's healthy, it's 2 days and I'm done. I can't do that shit anymore than just the 2 days.
I can do it quite a bit. Like it's just for me. It's just I just eat chicken and beef and or like sushi. Like but the thing is, when I eat sushi, I don't go ham like I normally do. Like usually I'll go to all you can eat and just fucking eat until my stomach wants to blow up. If I'm on a diet, which I am now, I'll eat just enough. Like I'll eat and I won't have any of the mayos or anything like that. I'll just like, sashimi or whatever, right? And just eat the good stuff, and that's the show. But yeah, for me, I can eat the same thing for weeks. Like as long as it's chicken, beef, or salmon, I can do that shit all.
Yeah,
I can live off that.
I at least have to change. I at least have to change once every. Like I can do. If it's only like if I only did chicken or like if I do chicken and fish, which is usually the two that I rotate back and forth between. I don't eat a lot of red meat, so chicken and fish. As long as I'm rotating every 4 days or 3 days between chicken and fish, I'm happy. I can do it like indefinitely. Then it doesn't bother me. But if I only did like say I only ate chicken for lunch, that shit would start to bother me after a while. Like it's just no matter how many variations.
That doesn't bug me.
Yeah, no, I have to swap it out just a little bit every now and then. But yeah, because only
I got to be able to. So for me, and this is going to be my thing. So what I do every day right now, now that I've started it today, is I will run a minimum of 3 miles a day.
Okay.
Right. So I'll get 3 to 5 miles in every day. I'm probably going to run after the podcast for half hour again.
Okay.
And then I'll eat clean all day, every day. And as long as I can have popcorn at the movie theater once a week, and I can have a serious cheat meal once a week, just one meal, not a cheat day, but like a cheat meal where I'm going, all right, that's it. I'm fucking eating, I'm having a pulled pork poutine, or I'm eating a pizza. I'm having a Jesse's Bouse burger or some shit. Then I'm straight. If I try and deprive myself of all that, nah, I'll last a week.
Cheat day is pretty. A cheat day or a cheat meal is pretty important. Like especially when you're just starting out, you need to. In fact, when you're first starting out, you need more than one cheat day. You need to you need a cheat weekend. Like you just say, all right, I'll do 5 days, but the weekend I'm fucking my shit up. Just completely wrecking myself for 2 days. And then eventually, then you say, okay, only once a week, I'll do it. And then you go, a cheat day to a cheat meal. And then some people go all the way and say, fuck it, YOLO, I don't want any of that anymore, because you tend to lose your taste for it after a while. Like, you don't really want it anymore. I think people wildly underestimate how addictive junk food is because of what's in it.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and
big time.
when you start replacing it with other stuff and you don't eat it as frequently, you just literally don't fucking want it anymore, to the point where when you eat it, like, you might enjoy it, but you're like, all right, I'm good for a while now. I don't need to have this anymore. So yeah, I need to get into that spot too. But I also just need to get back to eating 3 meals a day instead of 2. But that would require physical activity to burn any amount of calories.
Yes.
It's like any. Because I tried, that was my problem, was I was making these meal preps, and they're relatively big meals, probably 1,000 calories or so per meal, because it's all clean. There was nothing of any substance in there whatsoever. And I'd get those 2 meals, so it'd be like half a pound of haddock was in one, plus rice, and
a half a pound of haddock.
Yeah,
let's go.
Let's go. I'm guessing it was about that, because it was 3.5 pounds uncooked. So cooked, you lose about a half a pound in water weight.
Yeah, that's
true. And I split it into 4 meals. So whatever that ends up being weight wise, I
thought you were eating half a pound in one meal.
Yes.
Damn, that's a lot of fish.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big dude. I need that.
You need the fuel.
I need the fuel, even when I'm sitting on my ass. So I need the fuel. So I'd be eating that, and then at dinner time, it would be like the equivalent ends up being like a half a pound of chicken or some shit or whatever, plus sweet potato, and then a green of sweet potato.
Sweet potato.
It's like my crack.
Oh, it's so good.
It's like a cheat, but it isn't a cheat.
I know.
It's
a healthy cheat.
It's a healthy cheat. Yeah, if there was such a thing. But my problem was that I'm not moving. So I had all this shit in me, and I get around to the second meal of the day, and I was like, oh. I get halfway into it, and I was like, this is a bad idea. I shouldn't be eating any more of this.
You got half a pound of haddock just chilling in your stomach, and you just haven't moved.
Yeah.
I guess I should probably eat now. I've only eaten once today.
Yeah, pretty much. That was like, it would be like I'd eat because I get up late because I'm up late. So I get up at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, well, fuck it, I'll just eat this half a pound of haddock. 9, 10 o'clock rolls around. I'm like, I should probably eat again. I've got all this chicken and shit, and then I'm going to bed. I'm so full. So yeah, I need to get some physical activity in my body. But shout outs again. It's like I'm sponsored by Costco. Fucking shout outs to Costco. Because I bought one package of haddock. It was $24, and there was 11 fillets in that container.
It's enough to feed a Filipino family,
dude. That's
for $25.
That was so. I did half the package and it was 4 days worth of meals.
Jeez.
So
fire.
You're spending like
I spent $60 at the grocery store today. That'll last me, if I'm lucky, 4 days. If I'm lucky,
bro, you need to hit up the Costco more frequently, bro.
I know I do, and I got a membership. I just don't use. I just fucking hate going into Costco. Like it's like an afternoon, dude. It's like you gotta like mentally prepare yourself for it. You gotta be in the mood for Costco.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't like just go in to grab a chicken and get the fuck out. Like you start seeing other shit. You gotta walk through the aisles. You gotta figure out what you need. It's like you gotta go through your inventory space in your kitchen and figure out like what you're gonna grab. Like it's
unless you're buying predominantly your meat and a couple of vegetables. So that's what I buy at Costco predominantly is meat and some select vegetables. So they have frozen broccoli that is amazing. Every other type of frozen broccoli I've ever had has been absolute shit. But the frozen broccoli at Costco is like a 10 out of 10.
That's where we used to get our big bags at.
Yeah. And they come in like separate packages, like 4 big separate packs. You can microwave them 5-6 minutes, done. Yep. And no joke, you can tell it's frozen, but it's like, unless you're an asshole, it's really good fucking broccoli. So you don't worry that much about it. It's still that bright green. It's so bright that it's not even the type of green I can get if I steam the fuckers myself. So stuff like that I'll buy there. But I'm not about, checking my inventory for my spice rack and then going and buying like a 5-pound thing of friggin' Montreal steak spice or some shit that I'll use for the next 4 years. Like I'm not about that game, but yeah, the meat, it is hard. You could only buy meat at Costco and pay for the membership 3 times over.
Easy.
It's absolutely insane. It doesn't even make sense. I don't even know how they make money on some of this shit.
Volume. It's because they sell so much of it. They can make it cheaper.
Oh, it's good
anyway,
stuff. Video
this
games.
Is the food podcast.
Yeah, well, I had to fill some time because I actually don't have that much I have listed here right now. So I'm glad we filled that up. All right, so as far as the game news goes, Mr. MaximusBlack, hit me up with the sound of endless remasters.
Endless remasters.
That's good enough. I actually didn't even have any sounds in mind that you could have possibly come up with for that, so that's good enough. I'll take it. Shenmue 1 and 2. Those are games. Did you ever play the Shenmue stuff? Because it's Dreamcast, right?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
So they are heralded as some of, like, you know, a lot of people that played Shenmue, they are considered some of the best games ever made.
Good games, yes.
Okay. So Shenmue 3 is coming, as most people would know at this point. And I'm convinced it has more mini games than actual game, but that's beside the point. So 3 is coming, and in the wake of 3, they've decided to release Shenmue 1 and 2 for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. So we're getting Shenmue 1 and 2 re-released. It's not a full-blown remaster, but there are some quality of life improvements to it, you know, like on the PC, for example, or whatever. I'm sure it's across consoles too. Resolution scaling for higher resolutions that didn't exist when the Dreamcast was around, and control schemes and things of that nature. So there's some quality of life, but it isn't like they rebuilt the games like some of the stuff like Spyro, for example, that we talked about last week, or Crash Bandicoot. You know, the full remaster treatment it's not getting, but enough that people are probably going to be pretty happy about that. So just being able to get their hands on it without having to emulate it or own a Dreamcast is pretty good. So that stuff is coming. I don't know if I saw a date for it, but I'm going to say before 3 would be my guess.
Yes.
Either it's going to be before 3 or long after 3, one way or the other, but after doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to me, so I'm going to go with before.
It'll definitely be before. It'll be like a selling point too, right? It's like, you know, go and play the old ones before the new, you know, the third one comes up.
Get caught up.
Yep.
Get caught up. Next up on this list, last week, I think I talked about how, because we were talking about Radical Heights, because you had been playing some Radical Heights and whatnot, and I'd mentioned that's Cliffy B's new game, because they dropped Lawbreakers or whatever to make this game, and you know, I always like to rip on Cliffy B because I think he's a bit of a prima donna. But he's continuing to be a prima donna, so I'm going to take another opportunity to rip on Cliffy B a bit. So, Cliffy B out there complaining that apparently Fortnite is trying to poach some of his employees and taking them off of the current Radical Heights project.
Really?
So he's out there on Twitter being like, guys, look, there's enough room in this genre for all of us. You don't have to go out there trying to steal my employees, because apparently they've done so. Like they've gone and offered these guys obviously better money than they're getting paid at,
of course,
at Radical Heights, right?
And the people are like, okay, I'm gonna go work for Fortnite.
Exactly. And I have
radical
this,
shit.
Obviously, Cliffy, when he brought on his employees, didn't have them write any contracts for non-compete, which would have been a wise move, because then they couldn't have just, you know, hopped directly over to their competitor right off the bat and risked them giving away secrets or whatever else. So I'm just going to, if I'm going to be real here, I don't think they're poaching shit. I don't think they're poaching shit, because why would Fortnite, who is literally killing it right now, take time out of their day to look and be like, oh, Radical Heights just started like 72 hours ago. Let's go get some employees on this game that only just cropped up, that's in alpha, that isn't showing, you know, it's showing promise, but it's not like it's suddenly going to take us out. Let's go poach some employee. Nobody, I don't think that happened at all. This is what I think. I think the employees had their name attached to Radical Heights and then sent some resumes on over to Epic and said, motherfucker, I want to work on Fortnite because that shit's fire. That's what I think.
And then Fortnite the Epic may have hired one of them or something, or if they needed devs or whatever. And then now he's going on Twitter and just be like, you know, trying to make Fortnite a bad.
Dude, you know what? If I'm going to be honest with you, I think Cliffy B is having a bit of a midlife crisis right now. All right. Cliffy hasn't been particularly relevant in the video game industry in a long while, and he used to be kind of like the cool hip dad. Or the cool, not even the dad, but the cool hip guy. He was the guy that could go out on the E3 stage and say fuck, and everyone was like, "Ooh!" But it's Cliffy B, so it's okay, right? He'd come out with his fucking earrings and shit and be like, "Ah, fuck games," and everybody would be like, "Yes,
yes, fuck games,
Cliffy." So
you let him know, Cliff.
So he hasn't really had that in a while, and Lawbreakers just could not have failed harder if it tried.
Oh, that shit went down the tubes.
As bad.
Well, yeah, it didn't even come out the gate.
I mean, it didn't even look like a bad game, but it was like the wrong place, the wrong time, the wrong genre. They missed the boat, and now they wisely, you know, it's intelligent for them. Now they're doing the battle royale shit with Radical Heights, and they seem to be, you know, they've got the idea, they differentiated themselves. But why you got to go out and make yourself look stupid, saying Fortnite coming to poach our employees? Look, either pay your fucking employees enough that they want to stay, or give them another reason, give them some more autonomy, be a goddamn businessman, for God's sake. Don't go out there whining about shit that probably didn't even happen, honest to God.
I think if anything, he's probably just bootlegging off the name a bit, right? Just get some retweets, get some discussion going. Now we're talking about it again.
Any press is good press.
Hey, it's especially when you're up against such a juggernaut, right?
Yeah,
it's like, you know, who at this point it's like, who cares? He only comes out a winner no matter what with this, right? You know, you don't like him to begin with, so it's not like he's losing a fan. You know, it's I don't know. So I've always just not been a huge Cliffy B fan because he's always just seemed like such an abrasive fuck. But like now he's proving my point. So continue, Cliffy. You do you, boo boo. Cliffy. You do you.
You do you. I mean, I do hope that Radical Heights does very well because we need another game in the space for sure.
We do. But and it is a fun game. It really is. Like it's different enough that there's a spot for it. So we'll see what happens.
Just don't. You're being a player unknown right now. Don't go on Twitter blasting off about random shit and fucking the PR up for your game. Just keep making your game. And just hope that it does well. That's all you can do.
Yep.
Anthem news. Sort of Anthem news, I guess. It's not like direct Anthem news, but it's kind of Anthem news. So I would put it in here. BioWare, one of the BioWare bosses was talking about their experience with Mass Effect Andromeda. And we all know how that went. It didn't go well. It was another one of those kind of limped across the finish line, technically finished the race, but you know, now you're in the hospital for the next 6 months because you fucked yourself up so bad type deal. They never ended up making any story DLC for Andromeda, like zero. They canceled that stuff because obviously the game didn't sell nearly well enough to justify going out there and making a bunch of story DLC. And he was talking about how the team was kind of disappointed about not being able to do that because, you know, and I can appreciate that when you work on a game for, you know, like 2, 3, 5 years or whatever, you know, you sometimes you get your idea in your head, you want to put that on paper, you want to make it reality, then it doesn't happen because your game fucking flops because BioWare pretty much fucked you in the ass along with EA with their timelines. So, you know, the team is kind of beat up about it. So what he's saying is that the team has kind of taken that, I don't know if you want to call it a lesson, I guess you call it a lesson, and they're trying to now make that a something what they're basically trying to not let that happen with Anthem. Is that the idea behind it is that they're trying to go back to what BioWare is known for. So He mentioned specifically, that story-driven element that was kind of signature Bioware. You could tell, you used to be able to anyway, tell really when you're playing a Bioware game. It was produced in a certain way. The character dialogue was shown in a very distinctive way that kind of changed the genre, like when they did the KOTOR dialogue, and then that branched out into Mass Effect, and then every other fucking game in the world thereafter. Things of that nature. That you used to be able to distinguish a Bioware game, and it was always
continuity,
and it was done, and it was just done well, and it was written well.
It was clean. Yeah, it was clean.
And Bioware has not been associated with high quality for quite some time now. And so he's hoping that, or their plans are to try and bring that back with Anthem, which means, and this is what I'm interested in then, they obviously have some plans to have Anthem be relatively heavy with story, which is not something that Destiny did particularly well for a long while. And are still struggling with now. And when I play Destiny, I definitely feel it. The game is put together well, but it kind of feels empty in that the story, if it's there, is not told particularly well, and the characters aren't particularly good. So if we did have a game in that genre with a great story, that would be kind of cool. But I guess that's their whole plan, is just try and get BioWare back on BioWare track with Anthem.
Yeah, I hope they can.
I feel like if they don't, BioWare is going to go broke, because Anthem's probably all of the studio's money.
Yeah. I think it's their last hoorah. It's either it's going to make or break them.
Yeah. Which would be shit if it broke them, because BioWare holds license to a lot of really damn good games. And I wouldn't want all of them to go off into obscurity like some other titles do and get bought up by like some random third party that shits all over the series or something. Or maybe it turns out to go well. I don't know. But with Anthem, I hope that we see some story stuff. Would that be something you're interested in? Like if Anthem actually had more story to it, or are you just looking at Anthem thinking, I just want the multiplayer to be good?
I'm already sold on Anthem. I'm gonna buy it and play it regardless. I think story is important. I mean, especially in longevity of games, to want to keep going back. Like gameplay will only take you so far, right? Yeah. Gameplay will sell you a game great, and it'll create some nice buzz, but even good gameplay goes stale. Like it doesn't matter. And it's the story that keeps people engaged and wanting more. They want to see what happens next. They want to get attached to characters. They want to feel for characters, and that really should be your focus in any game that wants to be out long term. Isn't that what expansions are all about? Is to expand on what you've already built. So I think if they do prioritize a great story, and on the flip side, a great story can actually overshadow some not so great gameplay. So, if a story is great, but the game isn't perfect, like it's people will forget about a game being not as mechanically sound or such a huge, if people's expectations are pretty high for Anthem, if the story comes out and blows people away, I think people will be praising the expectation. They'll be going, wow, this is amazing. If the game is just good, like say Destiny, I think people are going to go, yeah, it's really good, but it feels hollow. Like it feels like Destiny. So I think they're going for the right thing. We see it with The Last of Us. We see it even with all these Telltale games. Story keeps people invested and involved. And if they can do that, then I think they'll be successful.
Yeah, I think that's something that people or the developers have tried to bridge into multiplayer-centric games for a long time that are outside of like the MMO sphere, right? MMOs have always tended to have relatively deep lore and stories behind them to some degree, at least the good ones anyway. But we haven't seen them get too crazy with that in some of the other multiplayer genres. And it'd be nice to be able to have that for sure, because for me as a player, you know I don't represent the majority of players out there. I think with that genre, people are more interested in, you know, what's the end game grind like than anything, right? They want to know just how, you know, varied after they've played the game for 200 hours and they're just grinding the end game content ad nauseum, you know, how varied is that so they don't get bored with it? But I think some of that, like you were saying, the anchor to it is always good if it can be story driven, right? If you can attach lore to items and armor and weapons that you're unlocking and attach and, you know, work that into story and the characters that you're going to be interacting with, whether it's in raids or otherwise, and having that world be a little bit more interactive than just simply, here's a hub world that's here because Earth got blown up, and hey, here we are, and they're like, that's it, that's the story, you know. Or you could do Destiny's route, light versus dark, literally, not in. Not it's not a parable.
Literal.
It's literally the light versus the dark.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you can give some meat to it, I think it adds quite a bit. At least for me as a gamer, I need that more than I like you were saying. Oftentimes, I need that more than I need the gameplay to be perfect. You know, as long as the gameplay is good.
I'm more of I need the story to be good than the gameplay to be perfect. I want to remember a game. Like when you think about, for me anyway, there's not a lot of games that stick with me for long periods of time. I mean, even fun games like, you know, say like Shadow of Mordor, right? That is like super fun, fast paced, kind of like a God of War that I'm hearing the story is incredible and the character arc is great and all this other stuff. There's not a lot of games that I can think of. There are a few. The Last of Us always comes to my mind, where I'm invested. Like, I'm invested in the characters, in the story. It made me feel good, or it made me feel sad, or it made me feel something.
But do you remember? But of the games that you do remember, or that you hold in higher regard, do they? I guess, do you remember more of them because they had good stories, or do you more easily remember games that played well? Because
I think it's a combination of both. I think for me, I honestly remember more of the story than anything. Like The Last of Us was great.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Even Alan Wake. Like, I really liked Alan Wake. You know, the gameplay was a little janky at times. But it was a cool concept, and the story was cool, and it was like a mystery thriller type thing. And anything like Naughty Dog, it's just they have this stamp of production that feels movie-like, and I'm a movie buff anyway, so I've always kind of been like that. But I still want good gameplay. I'm not saying that people can go out there and make a great story, but have a horrible gameplay.
There is a trade-off there, right? It's
for sure.
You can only get so shit before people are not even interested in your story anymore. It's just they just don't want to play the game because it plays bad.
Because it's bad. Because it's bad.
Yeah. I just started The Witcher last night.
Yeah, I was watching you play a bit of it last night.
And, to say that The Witcher hasn't aged well would be an understatement as far as gameplay goes. Yeah. The Witcher didn't age well when it was first released in like 2008, let alone 10 years later in 2018. It was definitely a game that they originally, it's made in the Bioware engine that was used for their isometric RPGs like KOTOR and stuff like that, right? So you can tell, and it's in the game to choose that camera position and gameplay style, that I'm like 90% sure originally the game was supposed to be an isometric RPG, like a Neverwinter Nights or an Icewind Dale type shit. And then at some point somebody said, but what if we just did like an over-the-shoulder camera? Because from up here, I can't see all of our dope sword animations. And somebody said, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, let's try that. And then they did, and it looked passable. The the field of view looked like a fisheye lens from hell, but other than that, it was passable and it worked well enough, and it allowed them to, have more of a Mass Effect dialogue type deal where, there was a very similar dialogue tree set up and whatnot. But the gameplay is rough.
Yeah.
In that shit. Like really rough. The menus are horrible. It's hard to tell what's part of the menu and what's background picture. Everything is so designed, like over-designed, that when you get in, I'm randomly hovering over elements to see if it's actually part of the menu or if it's just like a piece of the picture. It's not great. But to your point, people hold it in high regard and did then and did now and do now because the story is and the characters are really, really good. So they look over the fact that from a gameplay perspective, it's a heaping pile of dog shit. But from a story perspective and the characters, it's so good that you can look past the fact that the gameplay is not so hot so that you can experience the story and characters.
The problem with that is if you can't get attached to the game mechanically in some way, you're never going to give it a chance to fall in love with the things, right? Because I've gone back and I've played some older games, from nostalgia, or people are like, dude, you got to fucking play this shit. It's amazing. You're like, all right, man, I'll go and play it. But it's so old and so dated and it's just bad that you can't even muster up enough to get it to the point where you could potentially fall in love with it. And when people fall in love with games back in the day, we got to understand that they don't have the perspective that they have today. So, like, when there was bad menus or bad mechanics and bad moving around and shit like that.
That was the status quo back then, right? That was just right? What everything was.
That was state of the art back then. Yeah.
But not anymore.
No.
Not even close.
No.
So yeah, I agree that story stuff tends to stick longer in my memory when I look back. Like when I think of my favorite games, rarely do I think of games, like that's why I asked you that question. Rarely, if any, in my list of top games do I go, oh, well, that's there because it played fucking awesome. Like odds are some of them in the list did play really well, but at the end of the day, it's more likely that I have it there because the story and characters were memorable and well written and well displayed than it was about the fact that the game played amazingly. Otherwise, Morrowind wouldn't be my favorite game of all time because everyone knows Morrowind's fucking terrible from a gameplay perspective. I mean, how many times you get like 4 cliff racers flying over your head and you're only level like 2 and you have a sword in your hand and you're trying to get over the fact that while they're right in front of you and you're swinging, your skill is so low that despite the fact that your sword just went through that fucking cliff racer, you did no damage.
You're not touching it.
Didn't hit a damn thing. And you're just swinging. And all you hear is and they've been chasing you all over fucking Vardenfell, and you're one side of the island to the other, and you've got 16,000 cliff racers, and your game's going at 4 frames a second, and shit's blowing up all over the place. And then you enter a house, and you gotta wait 14 minutes for it to load, and you go back outside, and they're still fucking standing there. Yeah, it's bad. But story and characters in that were very good. So yeah, that's all of that to say, if they can get that into Anthem, I think that's going to take them a long way, especially within the genre, because if it doesn't have that, I think you said this too, people are just immediately going to say, oh, it's just Destiny. And they can't, I don't think they can afford for people to say it's just Destiny.
Well, I think if they do say it's just Destiny, I think we're also going to hear a part on the end where they're going to say it's just Destiny but not as good. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get the it's just Destiny. It's either it's going to be it's just Destiny but not as good, or it's Destiny but better.
Yeah.
Right? It's what Destiny 2 should have been, right? It's going to be one of the two.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
What else do I have here in my bag of tricks? Oh, apparently, according to a company insider who remained anonymous, Battlefield 5 is currently internally prototyping a battle royale mode. Not that should shock anyone that might be happening. So they're prototyping. It doesn't mean that it's actually going to happen, or that it would be part of Battlefield. Maybe it turns out to be a separate game. Maybe they make it a piece of content that comes out later. But I think we all understand, if you're part of the Battle Royale space, odds are, if there's one game or series that makes sense for Battle Royale that hasn't done it yet, Battlefield is absolutely the one.
Yeah, I mean, that's the mecca.
That's the show, right? And that would spell pretty much game over for PUBG if that happens, because Battlefield occupies the same kind of arcade simulation sphere. It skews a little bit more arcadey because it's
a console game.
Because it moved closer to Call of Duty over time because COD was so popular, right? So it kind of got away from its more semi PC roots and went towards the COD route. But it's still, I think it'll be so much similar that I think people just won't give a shit and they'll hop on over. All they're going to need to know is there bullet drop and does it play well? Yes? Okay. Well, then now you're just PUBG, but better.
Oh, there's tanks? Okay, I'm in.
Oh, what's that? Somebody just can't hide behind this wall if I throw a grenade at it and it blows the cover up? Sounds good to me.
I'm in.
I want that.
Yep.
I want that right now. Can I take this tank off of a sweet jump and then shoot a Harrier out of the sky if I practice enough? Yes, because it's Battlefield and YouTube exists for that. So, welcome.
I'm in.
Welcome. But now you're not just gonna do that in game. Now you're gonna try and do it to win the whole match. You imagine that? Last two people, one dude's in a tank, one dude's in a fucking jet. Tank just goes off a fucking jump
and blows up the jet.
Shoots the Harrier out of the air. Oh my god. Double rainbow.
I hope they do it, man. I hope Battlefield comes up with something that's clean and good. That'd be fire.
Yeah, I want Battlefield. This is 5, so I want Battlefield 5 to go back closer to older Battlefield in terms of less arcadey, less Call of Duty, more Battlefield, because I feel like Battlefield has lost its identity a bit in the last couple of iterations.
I agree.
And it would be nice if we got, went back in the other direction a little bit to get more into that simulated kind of feel, that grittier feel, because the fact that it felt like Call of Duty to me was part of why I didn't play a lot of Battlefield for a while, because it felt like I was playing Call of Duty, but it wasn't. But I don't know how to put this. It wasn't Call of Duty. So like Call of Duty works because the maps are relatively small and it's super fast and you're in and out. Battlefield felt like Call of Duty, but on a bigger map, and it just didn't feel right to me. I wanted it to be a bit slower paced and a little bit more methodical, like Battlefield used to be. Whereas Call of Duty is about run and gun, and you die, and then you get back up, and you kill another like 8 people before you die, and then rinse and repeat ad nauseum, which works for Call of Duty, but for Battlefield, it just always felt kind of out of place. So that would be pretty dope if we get that. We'll see. It would not shock me if E3 holds at least 2 Battle Royale announcements from somebody, from some companies. We're just going to get it. Battlefield 5 is supposed to have been slated for this year. It might have got pushed into early next, but if that's the case, I suspect we will see something of it at E3. So maybe we hear about it, maybe we don't. In terms of the Battle Royale feature,
I think we'll hear something.
Yeah.
If they go along with it, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough because either they're going to keep it under wraps and just see how this genre plays out over the next couple of months and see what kind of happens before they make any announcements, or they just decide to get in early, like the early bird gets the worm type shit, where like no AAA developer really has gone in on it yet. Epic sort of is a
kind of,
it's borderline. Yeah. But it's not Battlefield, so it's maybe they get out there and do that, and we'll see. Oh, something I saw, and chat might be able to think of the name before I can think of it off the top of my head. If I can, is it called Iron Sights or something like that? Summit was playing it yesterday.
Iron Sights?
It's like Iron Sight or something like that, something along those lines. Anyway, he was, you know, everyone else playing it had like 4 viewers, but he was playing it, and he had like 30,000 or some, you know, usual.
Oh, is that the tank game?
No. So it's, is it Iron Sight? I just want to double check this now before I keep calling it that. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. There's a directory for it. Yes, it is. It is. I saw him playing it. I clicked on it. I was like, what is this? Because I saw it in the, you know, in like, I think it was like the top 10 games, because Summit was playing it and there was 13,000, 14,000 people watching him. So I go and I click on it. I'm watching him play. This is, I'm not joking to you. If you want like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, but not Call of Duty, this is your game.
Okay.
I think it's free to play, if I'm not mistaken. And when you watch it, you watch 30 seconds of it, and you're gonna think that you're watching Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, right down to the kill streak things with like the UAVs, the guided missiles, like that whole 9 yards, like that's in there. The run and gun aspect of it, it looks like Call of Duty. So the gun bob and the speed in which you're running and the snapshots and things like that all looks like COD, but it's free, and it didn't look that bad, honestly, for a free game. Like if you were disappointed with the fact that the Modern Warfare 2 re-release didn't have proper multiplayer, because that's what you were really looking forward to, because they decided to not make money that day. Then this might be, I mean, I think it's PC only, but it might be a viable alternative for you, because I don't think there's a game that could get any closer to being Call of Duty without getting sued. It's that close. So yeah, that just popped in because we were talking about COD and Battlefield, so you can give that a little look-see.
Very quickly, just because I'm tired of talking about battle royales, but
sure.
You gotta mention it. There's did you see the PUBG clone game? I'm sure you've heard of it at this point.
Is it the one from China?
Yeah, the China one.
What's it called again?
What?
What's it called again? It's like some fancy like Lord of the Rings ass sounding name, isn't it?
Yeah, that game. It's
like Elysium Circle or some shit.
What it is. It's starting to get quite a bit of traction, and it is quite literally PUBG without all the broken shit. It's just a better, legit PUBG. It's people that are playing it are going, this is what PUBG should be, and the game is gonna like blow up. Like it hasn't even people. You can download it. There's like a way you can get the game if you're from North America, and you have to deal with like a heavier ping. But people are just playing it because it just runs like butter. And it just looks amazing, and like everything, it's like a straight clone.
I don't think I've seen gameplay for it yet. I've just heard about it. Can you hook me up? Can you hook me up with a little sauce right now?
Oh, you'll eat this game up, like, because you love PUBG. This is like China, I'm watching and I'm going,
make me happy, China.
All right, so let me see.
But is it like China only? Like, am I going to need a VPN my ass into China to play this right now?
No, there is a way of playing it.
Gonna have to take some Mandarin lessons.
Here, I just sent to you on Skype. That's the gameplay anyway. I just took the first video that I saw. But if you just kind of scroll through it a little bit, you'll notice it is apparently too, like when you have it maxed out on graphics, it just looks like sex. Everything is like copied. Like the sound effects sound very similar.
Oh my god, dude! I saw 3 seconds, and I was like, "This is." Yeah. I'm watching PUBG right now.
Yeah, the water in this game looks incredible. Like legit water. Like when you're zoomed in and it's raining, it looks dope. The glare of the sun looks dope. It's just not glitchy as fuck. Like it just runs. Everybody is saying it is PUBG, but way better. It just doesn't have the player base.
Third person only though would be that kind of kills my boner.
I do believe it's third person only. Somebody can correct me. Now when you zoom in, like when you go to
site up, it's first person. Yeah. Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Yeah, dude. Like as soon as you zoom in, it's first person. Like if you have a red dot, it's first person. If you have a sniper, it's first person.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. I just never like the third person because it gives you like that peak advantage that drives me a bit nuts. Right, it removes a lot of like tactical positioning when you're in third person.
And then also like when you're running around with things, like if you're running left and right, your whole body kind of has to run with you. Like you can't just do these weird janky turns. Like
they've put physics on your movements, right? So like where you have to. Oh my God, dude, they're using like the same fucking art for the guns and shit.
Yeah, and when you fall down, you don't have a parachute. You're like using a wing glider, like a I don't know. It's
see it. I see it. Yes, the most. That makes.
And like the Jeeps, like you can like. I'm pretty sure you can drive like Beetles and shit. Like, it's a pretty cool looking game. And if you just search it on YouTube, like after the podcast, you can just go on YouTube. It's called Ring of Elysium. And,
this looks like it's also using Unreal 4 with like stock ground and grass assets. Like it looks so much like PUBG.
Yeah, it's a clone.
But as long as
clone the game, but
as long as it plays better, that's all it has to do.
Oh, infinitely! Like
that's literally it.
I watched about an hour of people's gameplay on YouTube, and I watched like a bunch of Shroud was streaming it last night with like 40 or 50K people. Yeah, and like even he was like, "Holy Jesus, this is."
Dude, Shroud is so fucking scary good at shooters. It's actually disturbing.
Yeah, so he was playing that shit, and he seemed to really like it as well. So definitely something you should check out.
Oh, 100%. If they put a first person in this game and it was just readily playable, I would play it right now. I'd be interested immediately. Because it's just that's all I've wanted from PUBG is like, PUBG is fine for me. I just want it to not be so fucking broken. That's it. I feel like that's the majority of the player base is please just. The game is not horrible, just fucking fix it, for God's sake. And now here comes China with dynamic weather. I just saw the shit go from sunny to rain. Get fucked on, PUBG Corp. Just get dumpstered.
Yeah, so anyway, the game's pretty dope.
Just get dumpstered. All right, I'm down for that. I'm down for that. Show me your fake Gucci bag, China. I'll take it all day.
All day long.
I'll pay $150 versus that $4,000 purse. I'm in. Hook me up. Fake iPhones. Let's go. That's all I've got for games.
All right.
That's all I've got for games. Movies and TV, I didn't even have time to get to.
I went and saw last night. I went to Rampage, the Rock movie.
How was that?
Based off the video game
Rampage. How was that?
The villain, there's two villains. There's a guy and a girl. The guy was just so bad. I mean, he was just like, he was so over the top cartoony, and it was just like really, really cringy. Not in an entertaining way, but in like a no, like he had a couple of lines where I kind of chuckled a little bit, but beyond that, it was really, really the
was it the writing, the actor, or both?
Oh, it was just a combination of all.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, it was not great. But the movie itself, it knew what it was, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is just he's just such a charismatic guy that like it's hard to not like a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie. The relationship between him and George was good. You know, you feel for the character, you buy it. The movie's a little over the top, but it knows it is. And the last 40 minutes is just pure action. It was just a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed it. I would say critically, you know, the critics are, I think it's one of The Rock's sort of not, I don't know what the critics
I don't think anyone expected it to do critically.
Yeah, 50% on Rotten Tomatoes for critics, but the audience is at 81%.
Yeah.
And I would say that's kind of where I'm at. I would give it like an 8 out of 10 for it just being a fun, action-packed movie, a good popcorn movie.
Yeah.
CGI was great. And, you know, The Rock is starting to become a good actor. Like, I watched the movie, and there's a couple of scenes where I'm going,
damn,
okay, Rock. Like, where you know, he's kind of hit me with the feels a little bit. It's
are we getting Rock Oscar in the next decade?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I mean, in order for
did
him to get
Rock 10 years, do you think?
In order for him to get an Oscar, he has to drastically change the type of movies he does.
Of course,
right? He can't be doing these like, you know. Well, he's not going to.
If he keeps doing movies, he's not going to be able to be like the big buff dude forever. So you know, at some point, that's going to have to.
Yeah,
he's gonna.
I think if The Rock did do something drastic, like lose a ton of weight, you know, or play some sort of character that you had no like, whoa, what the fuck? That's
all of a sudden he's the machinist. Is what you're saying?
Yeah,
right now?
like, you know, if The Rock lost like 60 pounds and he grew hair and
he only weighed like, 240.
Yeah, like if he only lost a person. You know, it wouldn't be too bad. I don't know about an Oscar, but I think where The Rock is going to start to come is I think critics are going to start to respect him as an actor.
Well, that's good.
You know, he's good, man. He's good. You can tell, like, I would hope so. With the amount of fucking movies and shit and TV, all the stuff that he does, like, I would hope that he get better. Like, you see people like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Jason Statham or Jackie Chan or you know, those type of movie stars where, yeah, you know, they have gotten, all of those people that I've mentioned, they have gotten a little better with their acting over the years, but they still have kind of, they haven't gotten, it hasn't been this like drastic, you know, change.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Where you're like, holy shit, you know, wow, what these guys just transcended, you know, but I think The Rock has an opportunity to almost, if he doesn't typecast himself so much, he has potential to almost become a Will Smith.
So is The Rock the next? No, I think this is a better analogy. Is The Rock the next Matthew McConaughey?
No, I don't think he's that. I don't
mean in terms of the level, but I mean going from typecast rom-com to
I think it's more of a Will Smith.
Shit.
I think it's more of a Will Smith.
Okay.
I think that's the better way of putting it.
Specifically.
Yeah, and Will Smith has done plenty of action films too, right? Where if Will Smith was 200 pounds heavier and had tattoos, you know, obviously The Rock doesn't have the acting chops that Will Smith has in terms of like dramatic, but I think that he can get there. I really truly do. So we'll see. But I enjoyed Rampage. I think if anybody was thinking about going, it's a good time.
I think yeah, I mean it's definitely, that is a movie you want to see in theaters. It's a popcorn movie, it's a big action movie, and it's The Rock. He's fucking he's an entertaining dude. You're even if the movie isn't something that you're going to go and think about for the next 3 weeks about how deep and thoughtful it was, you're there for entertainment. Rock's going to entertain you pretty much every single time. Doesn't matter what movie he's in. He seems to just do the job. He entertains you, and that's arguably, as far as going to the movie theater, more important than going there for like a fancy drama that's going to be an Oscar bait. You know, you can watch that in your living room and get the same, you know, the same kind of effect. But you go there and you watch the big, you know, was it an IMAX?
It was an IMAX, yeah. It wasn't 3D, but it was an IMAX. It looked great. Like
I prefer non-3D IMAX, so I'm all over that for sure. So you know, you get that, you get the sound, the big screen, the Rock being The Rock and doing an epic, you know, action job.
The last 30 minutes, man, was a really good time. Like I've seen a ton of like Pacific Rim. There's so many Godzilla. There's so many of these big monster movies now. It's even like Cloverfield. Like you see these big things that are destroying cities. This really this had it as well, but it was different. It was
did it do it better than the other ones? In
some ways, yeah. It really it was really, did it do it as good as like Pacific Rim 1? I don't know. I mean, I don't think so.
You mentioned when in your list of, you know, people that have done similar career arcs as The Rock, you know, with the you know, Arnold and Jackie. You know, Arnold was never a particularly god tier actor, to say the least. He never
but he has a couple of movies out in the last few years that were surprisingly emotional, and he showed some acting chops. It wasn't like groundbreaking, but same with what's his face, crazy racist that makes amazing movies. Braveheart.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say Braveheart, and then now that you said Braveheart, now
Mel
it's
Gibson.
gone. There
Mel
you go.
Gibson.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson also has a movie that was really good, and I'm not sure if I told you to watch this one or not. Mel,
I think you did. I mean, you might have. Old Melly.
Yeah, for everybody that's listening, if you guys want to watch a good Mel Gibson, by the way, he's doing Passion of the Christ too. That got he's doing that.
The sequel where Jesus comes out from behind the stone and it's Easter. Is that going to be what the movie's about?
I think so. I think so. Bloodfather. If you guys want to watch like a good B movie that has some emotion and some really good solid like gangster action.
I was going to say Bloodfather just sounds like a mobster slash Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
Yeah, Bloodfather. Go check it out. It's a good way to burn an hour and a half. It's a solid film.
You mentioned Jackie Chan. How many of Jackie Chan's like honest to God dramatic role movies have you seen in your day? Because most of them are in Chinese. I think is the problem, right? Like a lot of his more dramatic shit is in a language that neither of us understand.
Well, the most dramatic I've seen was his most recent one, right? The one where
exactly.
It's like The Survivor or whatever.
No, the Foreigner.
The Foreigner, yeah. And that movie was kind of boring. Like it was.
I have a movie upstairs. It's 1911 or something, and he's the lead role in that. I haven't got a chance to watch it yet, but apparently it's really well done, and he does a good job in it. I have a feeling that most of his dramatic acting skills probably lean on his native language, which would be perfectly acceptable. Because Jackie's never spoken great English ever. Even today, no matter how many English movies he's done, he's like phonetically hacked his way through every single one of them without actually knowing what he's saying 90% of the time.
He's just fun to watch. He's just a fun guy to watch on screen.
I fucking love Jackie Chan.
Yeah, but in terms of dramatic roles, like Jackie Chan is never brought up. Like I don't care, even if in China, maybe I don't know. I don't watch Chinese movies, but I think even in the world of China. And I don't think Jackie Chan would be brought up as a dramatic. I think he's still known as the fun kung fu.
Well, yeah, that's what he's going to be most known
that's
for
his thing.
sure.
I'm not saying he can't act.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, obviously the man can act, but dramatically, he's definitely not even somebody you bring up. Got to give him up to him for the mixture of comedy and kung fu movie style is. Pretty sure he's the only one that really pulled it off. And he's been trying to get Rush Hour 4 for a while now, so I think it'll happen.
Apparently they've confirmed that, like, Chris is in.
Okay, well, there you go.
So that is a thing that's happening. I retweeted it a few weeks ago when they made the announcement, and it was just my body was ready. I'm in. They just had to say it was happening. Oh, yeah. Those movies are some of my favorites to watch. Like, I can watch those movies many times. And I will still laugh.
I have watched those movies many times.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else happen in the realm of movies and TV in the last week? I had literally 5 minutes to scan Screen Rant, and I didn't see a hell of a lot going on in there.
Nothing much. Like Jurassic World had another trailer that dropped where it actually looks like a decent movie. But beyond that, we're getting ready for the mega movie season, right? Avengers coming out next week, and it's gonna be well, we're gonna be doing the podcast next. Are we doing it still? Yeah, we're just gonna do it like an hour early, I think, next week, right?
Yeah,
I have my movie tickets for Thursday.
Yeah. So we'll either do it an hour earlier, or we'll play it safe and do it on a Wednesday next week or some shit. We'll make a firmer decision closer to the date. But yeah, because you have your tickets to go see that.
Yeah.
Thursday night. So
I'm pumped.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be pretty dope.
It's apparently it's beat. So the pre-sales tickets, it's beat Marvel's last 8 movies combined in pre-sale.
Excuse me?
I'm going to say that one more time.
Okay.
So the last 8 Marvel movies in pre-sale tickets.
That's more than 7.
This includes Black Panther.
Okay.
Beat him all combined.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So
they're gonna make some money on this movie.
They're thinking it's going to have a bigger it's going to be the biggest opening of all time. It's going to beat Star Wars Episode 7. So
is it a $2 billion movie, Jeff?
Yes. Oh yes. Oh yeah. It is so going to make $2 billion. It is so going to make $2 billion.
It's a bunch of old sweaty white men just swimming in money right now. Just loving it, wiping their ass with $100 bills.
Yep.
Just soaking it up.
That moment when you buy like Star Wars for $4 billion and then you make one movie and you've got half your investment back.
It's pretty good.
Not bad.
It's a pretty good investment. You can't really beat that.
I mean, obviously, you got to pay actors, you got to pay production, you got to pay advertisement, you got to pay all this stuff. But I mean, even still, Jesus, even if you profit $1 billion, like, god damn.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, that's a shitload of money, right? I mean, that's crazy. I watched. There's a Netflix in collaboration with Channel 4 documentary on Donald Trump. That's on Netflix right now. It's a 4-parter, an hour a pop, roughly between 40. I think it's between 45 minutes and an hour for each one. Mm-hmm. And they follow his life from I think 1975 all the way up through him attaining presidency, in an attempt to kind of
make him look human.
Well, no. Well, no, but to show what his journey was like, because there's a lot of people that don't know what Donald Trump did prior to, like, The Apprentice, for God's sake. Like, and part of the documentary actually outlines that, where The Apprentice was one of Donald's best ideas because it opened him up to a whole generation of people that had no idea what the fuck he did in the 80s and 90s, for better or worse, and allowed him to take what was really a floundering business and convert his would-be real estate business into a brand of just him, on the back of The Apprentice, to try in an attempt to pay off the mountains of debt.
Yeah.
Mountains. And I knew he was in some debt. But this motherfucker is, holy shit.
No wonder he doesn't pay taxes.
Like crazy. So it was really interesting because they interviewed both friends and not so much friends of Donald from over the years, people who worked directly beside him for decades, the people that were involved with him politically and otherwise. They really hit on about as many angles as they possibly could, and they made it really interesting. They showed how, despite the fact that he is absolutely a psychopath, and up his own ass, he's intelligent, but in a like a microcosm. Like it's like he's I think the best thing I heard was he's every poor person's idea of a rich person. Like, that's Donald Trump is every poor person's idealistic image of what a rich person is and does. How they speak, what they do, everything's covered in fucking gold. It's like a hyperbole. It's like this over the top dramatic whatever, but the documentary really showed the points where he changed, like, his view, like how he did business and how he presented himself, like his influences, who influenced him, and particular to his political campaign, it showed how he basically just ripped off 3 other people that came before him that he worked closer with or was affiliated with, and then and just redid what they did in modern times, and it fucking worked. He just took the same shit and redid it and trademarked.
Well, you got to hand it to him.
Make America great again. But like an important line in it all, and I urge people to watch it because it's well done. Not because I think not just because I think Donald Trump's a fuckboy, because he is. I mean, it's an objective fact. But because it's not like the whole movie shits on him or something, but it really does a good job of showing you who the fuck Donald Trump is and how he got to where he did now. And yeah. Oh, what was it? Oh, politically speaking. So, oh Jesus, I'm so tired. Where was I going with this? So from the political side, and he was running and doing his thing, and what was it? Oh, somebody said something to him at some point. One of the people that he kind of influenced him said, told him, people will not remember what you told them. They're going to remember how you told them, or how and that you see that, and you can, and it's not a wrong thing. That's a pretty common selling tactic. Or when you're trying to win people over to have them like you, is you can tell them that they smell like dog shit, but if you do it in the right way, 3 weeks from now, they don't remember that you told them that they smell like dog shit. They just remember the feeling that you had when you told them that you smelled like dog shit. Because emotions are stronger, you remember emotional bits stronger than you remember just literal words that came out of somebody's mouth. So then you attach emotion to somebody when you think of something. So for Donald, when he went out and he preached all this fuckery, and people attached that emotion, that drive that they wanted to change or get away from the status quo bullshit of politics, and he used that shit to leverage people who are the motherfuckers that would spend $5,000 more on a family van at a used car lot than the next person would because they got swoondled, right? It's the way that it works. He did that to get the fucking presidency, and it totally fucking worked.
Of course. He's a smart guy. Like he knows what he's doing, right? He's not.
But he knows what he's doing
to an extent. Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Insofar as that he understands how to.
He's a seller. He's a seller.
He's a salesman.
He's a closer.
He's a closer. That's
the best way to put it. He is a closer.
That's what he is.
The guy will close you on whatever. If you're on the fence or you're like, let me think.
He'll make you feel good about it.
Exactly.
And
he's going to
talk you into it.
Yeah, and that's it. Honestly, man, like good entrepreneurs really are closers. Like getting the deals together. Making people, fake it till you make it, make people think a certain way, make people think like it's their idea, make people think like, they it's almost like he'll put people like that will put thoughts in your mind that make you think that you're the one thinking of that. So that you think it's your idea. Think it's your idea.
Yes.
That's a closer.
Yes.
That's a guy that understands human psyche and will go in there and he'll build enough rapport with you, and that's it. And he'll close. And it doesn't matter what happens after. He got the sale, and that's it. Like, he's not asking you to be your friend. He's not there to do a follow-up. It's like you got closed.
It's like one guy they interviewed. He said this guy he worked with and worked with his dad for a long time, and then he was working for him too. And then every time he saw him at an event, he'd ask, how's your dad doing? All right, okay. So this guy's dad died, and Donald asked him, how's your dad doing for like 5 more years after that? And he said, and the guy eventually just said, the same as he did last year, or the same as he was last year, because he's been dead for a half decade, Donald.
Because he doesn't care. Because he doesn't care, right?
He doesn't have like, he doesn't have any morals. He doesn't have like fundamental ideals or anything like that guide. It's money and closing it, and then that's it. And then he'll just go through the motions. And he desperately wants everyone to love him so fucking much that he will do anything, to the point where now the documentary showed. I mean, it skipped. It skips like 5-year periods sometimes, obviously, because you can't like do a day by day analysis of the motherfucker. but you'll see in interviews and how he handled himself, there was like a point that fucking switched where he went from, you know, using some hyperbole and a little bit of exaggeration to literal pathological liar, just where everything that comes out of his mouth is bullshit. There's literally no truth to any words that comes out of his mouth. He just says nonsensical shit.
Yeah.
And uses incredibly over exaggerated terms. Everything is stupendous or fantastic, or it's the best, or, you know, nobody's ever done it before, or, you know, it's all this like over the top whatever, and it's all bullshit. There's nothing that he says is true. But there was a point where he kind of switched over to that, and it was when business was failing him, and he had
I feel like Adam is just telling us the whole documentary.
I just want to. It's so good. I saw it and I was like, oh my God, this is such a perfect view. Watch it.
I will watch it. I will watch it. All right.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it another time.
Yeah, for sure. But definitely go and check that out. And then other than that, I've just been watching The Office. I'm not going to be able to finish it before Gabs gets here. I'm almost done season 5, but the last 3 seasons were hit or miss anyway, except for like the last couple episodes were fire. But I'll find some time to watch those, because she's not a fan of The Office. But other than that, there's that new Lost in Space that a lot of people are talking about on Netflix.
I told you about that, remember?
Yeah, and I haven't had a chance to watch that.
Kayla and I are going to start. Kayla's been working like a dog, so she's off on Friday. She has a weekend off. My grandfather's 80th birthday party on Saturday, so I have like 8 family members from Victoria flying in. So on Friday, we'll probably start it on Friday, and then when we come home, we'll continue. So, but I hear good things about it.
I've been hearing
the series.
I've been hearing good things about it as well. I didn't watch it because I thought maybe Gabs might want to watch it too, so I decided to hold off on it in case that was the case. But yeah, I've been hearing good things about it. The other thing that you should watch is on Netflix. You've probably maybe have seen it scrolling through. David Letterman has his thing. My next guest requires no introduction.
That. Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I saw it. I saw it on there.
Okay, watch the Obama one because it's fire.
All right,
it's the first one he did, and it's absolute fucking fire. And you get to see Obama out of the presidency role, which is interesting for a couple reasons. One, he's not dramatically different from when he was in the presidency role, because I think that's just kind of how he handled himself in general. Once you get into the political sphere.
Well, then also when you're acting a certain way for 8 years, you get into that to become that.
You become that, right? But you see him, and all I could think of the whole time I was watching it, and he's such a fucking intelligent man, and not the I can close a sale intelligent, but this.
Adam's just he's got to come back to it.
But there's a difference, right?
Shit.
There's a big difference, and the man is. It's
legendary.
It's scary. It's people can hate on Obama all they want. They didn't like everything he did in office, whatever. But as a person, Obama is so categorically head and shoulders above almost every other president that's ever fucking taken control of the United States of America in the last 100 years that it's scary. It's demonstrably. You can even if you hate the guy, I don't think you could get around that fact. And when you listen to him talk, you get such a clear understanding of how thoughtful of a person he is. Somebody can be very intelligent, but they're not like a thoughtful person. Like they don't sit around and think about a lot of broader issues. They might just be hyper intelligent about a handful of things. Whereas Obama is somebody who just has a very broad set of interests, and he's very thoughtful about things and kind of humanitarianism in general. And just you need to watch that interview because it's fire.
I'll watch it. Yeah.
Oh, it's absolute fire. Very, very good one, for sure. And David Letterman, like 5 times in that interview, keeps making the joke where Obama is after the interview just going to go back to the Oval Office and continue being president. He's like, I'm terribly sorry you're so busy, and I know you have to get back to the Oval Office. It's just the dream. The dream. God, yeah. It almost depressed me watching it. I'm going to be real with you for a second. It almost depressed me because
I know.
If you're doing it right, like there's a saying where if you're doing it right, nobody notices that you're doing anything at all. Like nobody notices anything because everything is going along
That's right.
smoothly. You know, there's no necessarily hyper good or hyper bad. Things are just going, and you just don't think, you know, you don't have to think about it. The moment that that Trump became president, the vast majority of both Canadians and Americans and other people in the world too, but for the majority of probably those involved would be these two countries and perhaps even Mexico to an extent for bordering. It's like a daily thing. You can't escape that shit. And there's no positive. There's zero positivity coming. It's all negative. And not just for people who oppose him, but Trump himself. Even Trump can't say something positive.
Adam! Stop!
I can't. I am sorry.
Stop!
I'm sorry.
We get it, dude.
I'm sorry.
We get it. Just stop the madness. Tech support.
I'm sorry.
I'll watch the Obama thing.
Watch the Obama thing.
I have to cut you off, bro, because you'll go.
Watch it. I know. It's bad. It's bad. Oh, tech support. What do we got? Let's see here. Hit me up with the tech support jingle. Tech support, no political, just tech support. First question comes in from Fluffy Ryan. Is Trump a good president? No, I'm just fucking.
Too soon.
What is this is Fluffy Raven, $60 lifetime supporter. Shout outs.
Thank you, sir.
What is the very first job you ever wanted to do when you were kids?
Mine would be when I was a kid. You know, the earliest thing that I can remember that I really thought about a job would be a movie director.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the first thing that I wanted to do. And I used to make all kinds of homemade videos. I used to make Blair Witch Project movies, Matrix type movies, or I used to slow down shit. Made a Star Wars movie. I was just all about that. And then when I got into high school, I did all the drama classes and I don't know if I ever told this before, but I remember I was in drama. It was grade 10. I think it was grade 10. And the class had to do plays.
14 years old, I guess.
Well, whatever I was in grade 10, I'm not sure. Maybe 15. But we had to do plays, and you could get partners or you could do something on your own. And I was the only person that did something on their own. So what I decided I was going to do is I was going to improv something, and I had no idea what I was going to do. So it was 1 week, we had to prepare, and then we would perform. And this went on for about a month. So there would be, you'd have like 5 or 10 minutes per act. And so we would do, the classes were an hour long. So you'd be able to get through, you know, depending on the size of the act, you'd go through maybe 5 to 10 people in a class. And what we would do is the class would sit back and watch, and then the performers would perform. And I was the first week, and I was by myself. It was all random drawn. And people were asking me like, "Yo, Jeff, can we do some stuff? Can we do something together?" Because I was always the goofy guy that always wanted to be the center of attention. So I wanted to really just be the center of attention, just flat out. So I said, I'm going solo. So I procrastinated all week long about what to do, and I was thinking like, you know, I'm a one-man show. What can I do? So I get to school. We're like, the drama class towards the end of the day, lunchtime comes, and I still have no idea what I'm going to, like, I haven't prepared lines. I haven't prepared story. I haven't prepared nothing, right? So I go home on my lunch break, and I remember I went home. I played a little bit of Counter-Strike for about 20 minutes, a half hour, and like old school Counter-Strike. And then I'm sitting there, and I'm playing, and I'm going, you know what? I'm going to do like some sort of action thing. So I went into my cupboard and I grabbed garbage bags and I went to school. Okay. And drama class came up, and I was the third person in the day. So while the other two were doing the thing, I was on the outside prepping And so I went to the bathroom and I had garbage bags. I didn't know what to do with them. So I took my clothes off and I put the garbage bag, like I ripped the whole, like a head and the arms and pants, and I made like a garbage bag suit.
Okay.
And I decided that I was going to be a ninja. And it was going to be an action-packed ninja type thing. So I still had no idea what it is I was going to do.
Garbage bag.
And so,
okay.
you know, I think it was Mr. Church, or I think it was Mr. Church. Anyway, he comes out and he's like, "Jeff, are you ready?" And he sees me in these garbage bags, right? He's like, "Do you need anything? Like, do you need any prep?" I was like, yeah. So there's in the middle of the class, they had like a divide. You couldn't see one side. So like these people, you could prep on one side and kind of set up your stage. So what I did is I took a bunch of chairs, and there was like some other things that people had there, like plywood and just some random shit.
Okay.
And I was setting things up randomly over
parkour.
Yeah, literally, I was just setting random shit up all over the place. And then I got Mr. Church to remove the thing, and I went outside and I said, "Turn off the lights."
Oh my god.
So he said, "Okay." And so he turned off the lights. The room is completely pitch dark, right? And the classroom's getting all giggly, and they're excited because, you know, you turn the lights off in school, right?
For whatever reason, when you're younger and you're in school, if the lights go off, it's like the biggest. It's like Christmas.
It's like. So anyway, I go in and I turn on one of the lights. So like back of it is kind of lit up, but it's not completely bright. Half of the room is still in dark.
Okay.
And I go in there and I improv everything. So what I was doing, I don't even remember what I said, but what I was doing is I was the garbage ninja, right? So and it had nothing to do with like garbage, but I was in a garbage bag.
Garbage Ninja should be your new alt account name on fucking like League of Legends and shit. That should be.
I play Fortnite and just call myself Garbage Ninja.
That should be it.
So all I did was I just bounced around, did rolls, jumped over things, and then I was having like intense conversations with myself. So like I would go up to a mirror and I would talk to like myself in weird,
some dark brooding voice.
Yeah. And I was like yelling at myself, and I was doing all kinds of weird shit. But it was working. Like I still don't remember. It was so long ago. I don't remember what I was saying. But it was like I was fighting a demon. It was like another part of me, and it was weird, man. It was weird. And then when I stopped, when I ended, everybody gave a stand ovation. Everybody was going crazy, and I had no idea what I just did, and it was amazing. So I don't know if everybody was just being nice, but it seemed like people were legitimate. Like I was doing comedy. I was like saying funny things. How could you not
be entertained? They just watched somebody in the pitch black run around in a garbage suit and talk to himself in the mirror. That's fire.
That was it. That was it,
that's
dude.
Fire.
And people were loving the shit, man. They're like, "Dude, that was amazing." And I never told any of them that, like, "Yo, bro, I just made up all that shit on the spot. Like, I had no idea what I was doing." So yeah, I was always a kid that had this crazy imagination, and I always wanted to entertain people, and I always thought I'd be in the movies or I'd direct a movie or something. So that was kind of my thing. That's what I wanted to do.
Like Will just said, you closed the deal, bro.
I did.
You closed the deal.
That's right.
I don't have any funny stories or anything for that because I wasn't into the arts, so into the drama, so I don't have anything fancy for that. But my first job that I can think of off the top of my head that I seriously considered was I wanted to go into video game design. That's just it. From like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old. It was the moment that I played Ocarina of Time for the first time. Around that time was when I decided that I was kind of into game design, because by the time I hit 8 or 9, it was when I was starting to think about games as more than games, but actually like how they were playing, or what they did differently from other games. And it wasn't just pop the game in and give her a go. I was actually starting to like have thoughts about what made a game good or bad, and then I kind of wanted to get into that. And I remember always telling my parents, it's like all the times, what do you want to do? I was like, I just want to go and make games. That's all I want to do. And I eventually, when I was got a little older, and I found out that BioWare was in Vancouver and Ubisoft was in Montreal and shit, and thought about it. And then I got older and realized that there's no money in making video games. And so I wised up to that and said, I'll just go on YouTube and Twitch, and I'll make more money than a video game designer by playing their games. No, that was kind of just serendipitous. But that was pretty much what I wanted to do. As my first job that I could remember anyway. I'm sure when I was younger I probably said some shit. Lord only knows what I wanted to, like everyone. I want to be an astronaut, or I want to be like a fucking race car driver or some shit. I don't know, but it was that. And then in high school I considered physics, and then I went into business because again I followed what was most likely going to give me money at the time. While also allowing me to do things I was good at. So, yeah. And then obviously what happens is the economy crashes. We don't get to do anything we wanted to do. And you guys literally carried both Jeff and I up out of a shithole for 7 straight years. So,
yes,
pat yourself on the back for that one.
That is the absolute truth.
That was the most depressing day. I remembered I was in my logistics business. It was called like logistics. It was a logistics class or something like that. And it was one of my favorite profs. He was just Chinese, but you could actually understand the words coming out of his mouth, so that was good. And he was just I had him for 2 classes, and he was just very, very good at teaching, like unbelievably good at teaching. Like he was one of those rare profs where he wasn't just not only really good at his job and therefore became a tenured professor, but he was also a good teacher, which is like this hyper fucking unicorn status, because most profs are just good at their job, but they're horrible fucking teachers. They just so happen to have the experience that the university requires from them to be a prof. So I was always, I always respected this guy and looked up to him, and I remember, and that's why I think I remember this so vividly. I was sitting in class, and it was like the day after the collapse, and he looked out at us and he said, guys, I have some bad news for you, all right? 48 hours ago, I would have told you that you're gonna graduate, and if you graduate with good grades, you're gonna basically choose whatever fucking starting salary that you want, and you're gonna get it. Today, I'm gonna tell you that unfortunately, even if you get good grades, 50% of you aren't even gonna be working by the time you get out of university. And everyone in the class was like, thanks? Thanks, I guess. Thanks. I appreciate the confidence boost there, Professor. I really appreciate it. But it was like
giving you a dosage of reality. That's
yeah, but I was down for it because I was like, look, I appreciate it, because lots of other people would be like, oh, you'll be fine. But like the reality was, it lit a fire under a lot of people's ass to do better in school, because the fewer and fewer people were going to get honest to God work out of university after that collapse, especially the way that it looked when it first happened. And that was just before Obama came in, right? Mm-hmm. And it took him 2.5 years of his first term before shit started going the right direction. So like that was like all of university that I had left plus some before anything started turning around, and people were just salty as fuck. Because that was why a lot of people were in university at the time, was it was like a guaranteed path to
money,
good paying work, right? Mm-hmm. And in Canada, where schooling was subsidized, you paid a lot of money, and you might have student loans, but it wasn't like the crazy amount that you'd have in the States. You might carry $20,000 to $40,000 in debt. You're not going to carry $120,000 in debt. So it was a payoff. You could get rid of that in 10 or 15 years. You'd be done and free, and it would make sense because your job would pay really well. But that didn't happen after the collapse. So that was weird. Did you see on Twitter that there's like one of the things that people have been doing have been kind of like showing their journey of work, like kind of like going through. Have you seen people do that on your line?
No.
So in mine, like a bunch of people like have been doing it where they show all of the jobs that they've had. So Matt Mercer, who does McCree from Overwatch and shit, right? And Geek and Sundry, the dungeon master for that.
Mm-hmm.
Critical Role. So he did his, and it was fucking all over the map. That dude was just fucking bouncing around in some of the weirdest shit. He was like working in a Starbucks or some shit at some point for like a long period of time doing some shit. And then the funny part was, at one point he said, starving voice actor, and then the next bullet point was no longer starving voice actor, which was like obviously when he got picked up by, I guess, like his first major gig, and now he's in every game forever.
He's a very full voice actor.
Yes, now he's doing very well. Geek and Sundry probably makes him as much money or more than his voiceover work. But yeah, that was kind of a cool thing to see, because especially for people that you see that are successful, it's always interesting to see their career journey, because you have it in your mind that people that are hyper successful, they got into that career early on and they just stayed in it, and then there they are. And in reality, that shit was
because
wild.
most successful people, they don't stay in one place too long on the way up. It's a lot of different experiences, a lot of different experimentations, a lot of trying out different things, taking risks, kind of living. I find like a lot of successful people kind of live in the moment.
Yes.
They don't really think too much about what's going to happen in 10 years. It's more of what's going on now and what's in the immediate future. And you just kind of go for it. And so that's probably why you do see quite a string of random shit. It's like, keep going until something sticks.
But then also sometimes it's just, people just fall into shit. Like they'll be just a lot
of the time people fall into
like
shit.
Matt Mercer. Like you watch it, you look at his thing, it's all over the fucking map, and then all of a sudden, just all of a sudden there it is, and here he is.
Yep. That's why I always tell people when people are always asking, like, you live the dream, Jeff. You get to do what you love, and all that other stuff, and they ask, like, how do I do it? How do I do this? And it's one of those things where I always tell people you have to work the shit job before the dream job. And I guarantee that anybody that you would see do that thing on Twitter, there's every single successful, whatever you consider successful, we'll say somebody that, financially is doing well and are happy or whatever the case may be, or what most people would perceive as success. They all worked shit jobs. I'm sure a lot of them, there's the Starbucks, there's the fucking McDonald's, there's the janitor, there's the waiter, there is the construction worker, there is the whatever the case may be, is you have to work the shitty jobs before you work the dream job. I shouldn't say nobody, there are exceptions.
Yeah, there's always exceptions.
Most people do not just fall into the dream. The dream is something that it's a lot of shitty life experience, a lot of low points, a lot of everything that kind of boil into an opportunity that you don't pass up or that you go for, whatever. A lot of the opportunities that come up, if presented to you at a certain time in your life, you wouldn't have the maturity or the insight or the whatever you want to call it to go for it and make it work. And a lot of times you gotta go through those hard times before you actually get that voice acting gig that changes your life, before you get the whatever that changes it all. So
exactly.
It would be interesting to see, where people start to where they are now in terms of, people that are kind of doing.
I don't know if there was a hashtag for it or something. I can't remember if there probably was a hashtag behind it, but I can't remember what it was. But it was kind of fun to see some of the people in my timeline crop up and see how their kind of career journey went, because it was very rarely was it much of a straight line. It was usually all over the place. Travis asks, who's a $50 lifetime supporter, shout out to Travis. Bumper stickers, amusing, annoying, don't give a fuck, and do you have a favorite bumper sticker? Mr. Black, now that you own a Jeep, I feel like you have to like a bumper sticker.
I don't have one though. I'm kind of like impartial. Like I haven't really thought. I guess I've had chuckles from bumper stickers. I'm just trying to think of what's a funny one. I don't know.
I don't think I've ever laughed at a bumper sticker before. Like, I feel like bumper stickers are just dad jokes slapped on the back of a car 90% of the time.
I see like a lot of funny license plates that make really funny things, but bumper stickers, no. It's not that I hate them. There's not a whole lot of clever ones. that stick out.
The one that always not necessarily stick out because they was so pervasive for such a long time, but I still see him every now and then, was the whole character that looks like Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes pissing on or just pissing, and then it ended up being like Ford pissing on Chev.
Yeah, I see a lot of those pissing ones. That's what I see the most, actually. And I also see a lot of the ones that have the families. You know what I mean? Like on the back of a van or whatever. Yeah, it shows like the mom, the dad, and then a couple of kids and a dog or whatever. So you can kind of see how big the family is. Like those are the only ones that really stick out. But yeah, I know exactly what that pissing one you're talking about. Those are the ones I see the most. But yeah, kind of tacky, man. It's a
little tacky. I don't think anyone sees a lot of those bumper stickers and goes, "Oh, that person's fun."
Yeah. No, it's like that person probably watches NASCAR.
Possibly. Yeah. Possibly. Mark, my video editor and has done work for us in the past as well. Says it's a whose technical alpha is it anyway? What are things you can say about your PC that you can't say about your girlfriend, Jeff? I'm gonna go with it's expensive.
Your PC is expensive.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
See, I'm going to tread lightly here because if I joke about, if I actually go for the jokes, I'm going to get reprimanded here. She's been gone for 6 weeks. I need to tread on solid ground here for at least the next 72 hours. Because otherwise, I could probably make for some pretty
All right,
pretty good jokes.
Okay, so what is it? What is the thing again?
What can you say about your PC that you can't say about your girlfriend?
Oh man. Oh man. Vote my PC that I can't that vote my wife.
It's fast.
My PC has that my wife doesn't have.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I'm trying to tread lightly too because I'm thinking of a few things and I'm like, oh goodness, I'm gonna cheat and say Windows 10. I fucking
that doesn't mean anything. That's bad. That's bad.
I don't know.
I'm trying to think of like some low key burn ones, like
like good RAM.
yeah, it's got a lot of
RAM.
It's got a lot of RAM.
I guess my PC is
it's got a big hard drive.
Is a little outdated.
Needs to be cleaned.
Ooh.
Fuck. I'm trying to do like the most casual PG ones type. Possible. Yeah.
I know what you're saying. It's got bad memory.
Oh.
Oh fuck. All right, next one.
Yeah, actually those are all three. One of them was posted 1, 2, 3, 4 times, meaning he probably just didn't see that it was posted in the first place. So those are all the questions we have. Oh no, we have one from Chico.
Okay.
Who's the $1,000 lifetime supporter, no big deal. Said fuck Marry Kill Part 3, but he didn't actually list anyone.
What? Fuck Marry Kill. And who are? But there's nobody there.
But he didn't list anyone.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I got this. I got this one. All right. Fuck, marry, kill.
All right.
Donald Trump. Barack Obama. Ivana Trump.
All right. I'm gonna fuck Donald Trump's wife.
That's his daughter. Ivana.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm smashing. Yeah. All right. So
Okay.
I'm smashing his daughter.
All right.
What is it? Fuck, marry, and what?
Kill.
Oh, Trump's dead. And I'm marrying Obama. Yeah.
You're on a list now somewhere, so I'm just gonna say
I'm on a list
pass.
I mean, I wouldn't kill anybody, even Donald Trump, but you know what I'm saying. In terms of the game.
Oh, Ivanka. Ivana is not her name. It's Ivanka. Fuck if I know.
Ivanka, whatever. She's pretty hot, isn't that? It's the hot one.
Yes.
Yeah, the one that Donald Trump even says is hot.
Yeah, like that.
And
awkward,
if he wasn't his daughter, I would do her.
That low key, want to bang my own daughter feel that he gives. Yeah.
I'm assuming your 3 is the same as my 3.
You would be correct.
Yeah.
You would be correct. For sure. For sure.
That's too easy.
Although if a gun was held to my head, I could give it up to Barack. I could let it happen.
You'd slide it in?
I could let it happen. That's Barack, right? I mean, you guys see some of these pictures when you watch this interview?
I think I'd rather marry Barack. I'd rather just kind of be around him and have conversations with him than sex.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like obviously, it's not my first choice.
Yeah, no.
But you got to give it up.
Yeah.
That's all I got. That's all I got. What an end to a podcast.
Awesome end.
What an absolute.
It ends with Donald Trump yet again.
Of course,
it has to. Just can't get away from it.
You can't escape it. Not even here. So I'm sorry for all of you looking for your safe space, where you don't hear about politics, because I'm here, which means you're likely going to hear about it. So I apologize for that. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming by and watching and listening. As always, you guys have been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Head on over to patreon.com/technicalalpha if you want to join in and help financially keep this show afloat. We will be back next week. Hard to say if it will be a Wednesday or a Thursday. We'll find out which one and when, but it will or closer to the date. But either way, it won't be at the standard time for those of you watching live or watching on YouTube. It'll be either earlier on Thursday or it will be on Wednesday. So look forward to that. And until we see you, let's head on over to our Patreon producers. That's not the right. That's the right one. And then I'm going to go over here to the website. You can also visit if you want to listen to the podcast, download episodes individually away from an RSS feed, or check out this Patreon producers list where we have Jetrix, Postal Panda, Chico, Derek P, Naily, Adam B, Jamaican J, Jorbach, Toad of Steel, and Matthew M. Legends, each and every one of you. We saw our first ever Technical Alpha sticker.
I saw it. Somebody's the
finally
merch is
happened.
showing up. The merch is showing.
It happened. It took a while, but we got there. So if they have it, that means that somebody else is likely to get it too. Make sure, for the love of God, to hit us up on Twitter or on Facebook or something and show us a picture, show us you getting your merch, because we'd love to see people actually have that in their hands. And the rest of you should be getting your stuff soon as well then. It only took 14 months. Tell me about it. I'm going to write a memoir about it later in life. But ladies and gentlemen, until we see you next week, do us a favor, have a good morning, afternoon, or evening. And until we do see you, peace.